There will come a time in your journey when you feel like throwing in the towel, when the weight of your goals feels heavier than your will to carry it, when every step forward seems harder than the last. Maybe you've been working for months or even years towards something that hasn't yet rewarded you. Maybe failure has whispered in your ear, telling you to quit, to rest, to accept less. This is the moment where many people stop. But what separates those who reach their dreams from those who don't is what happens right here, when you feel like giving up. If you are watching this right now, it's because you're standing at that crossroads. Maybe your motivation is low, your energy drained, and the obstacles feel endless. But I want you to know this: you are stronger than any moment of doubt. Staying consistent isn't about being perfect or always inspired. It's about deciding, even when you don't feel like it, that your goals are worth the fight. It's about showing up, putting one foot in front of the other, and trusting the process, even when results haven't yet caught up. Consistency is not built on grand gestures, but on small daily wins. Think about it. What happens if you do just one thing every day that moves you closer to your goal? It could be as simple as writing one sentence, making one phone call, practicing one skill. These tiny victories add up over time, creating momentum that becomes unstoppable. The person who wins is not always the fastest or the smartest. It's the one who refuses to stop. Motivation comes and goes. Some days you'll feel inspired, others you'll feel empty. That's why you must develop a mindset stronger than your feelings. Discipline is your anchor when motivation drifts away. Discipline is the promise you make to yourself that no matter how you feel, you will keep moving forward. This is the invisible force that turns dreams into reality. Staying consistent also means embracing discomfort. Growth is never comfortable. The moments when you want to quit are often the exact moments when your breakthrough is closest. Lean into that discomfort. See it not as a wall, but as a door. When you push through the hard days, you build resilience, the muscle that will carry you through every challenge to come. Most importantly, stay connected to your why. Why did you start this journey? What is the vision that lights a fire inside you? When the going gets tough, remembering your purpose fuels the strength to keep going. Your why becomes the compass that guides you through storms of doubt and distraction. Finally, create routines and habits that make consistency automatic. When your goals become part of your daily rhythm, you no longer rely on willpower alone. You build a system that supports your dreams, even on the days when giving up seems easier. So if you're ready to keep going, even when every fiber of your being tells you to quit, this message is for you. Stay consistent, trust the process, and watch how your persistence transforms your life beyond what you ever imagined. Struggle is a universal experience. No matter who you are, where you come from, or what your goals might be, there will be moments when giving up feels like the easiest, most natural choice. It is important to understand that struggle is not a sign that you are weak or failing. Rather, it is a natural part of any meaningful journey. Everyone, from the most successful people to those just starting out, faces seasons of hardship and discouragement. The difference between those who reach their goals and those who don't isn't that some never struggle. It's that some refuse to let struggle define their story. They choose to see struggle as a challenge to overcome rather than a reason to quit. When you are deep in struggle, it can feel isolating and overwhelming. The path ahead seems unclear. Your energy feels depleted and doubts creep in. You start questioning whether the effort is worth it, whether the sacrifices you have made will ever pay off. You might even wonder if you were meant for this journey at all. These thoughts are normal, but they are also dangerous if you let them control your actions. It is precisely at these low points where your true strength is tested and revealed. The reality is that life is full of obstacles designed not to stop you, but to strengthen you. Each struggle you face is like a weight in a gym, heavy and uncomfortable. But every time you lift it, your muscles grow stronger. Struggle stretches your limits and forces you to develop qualities like patience, resilience, and determination. Without struggle, you remain stuck in the same place, never growing, never evolving. In fact, struggle is often the prelude to breakthrough. It shakes you out of complacency and forces you to change, to adapt, and to rise above. It is also important to recognize that struggle is not a sign that you are alone or that no one else has ever faced what you're going through. Every successful person you admire has their own story of hardship and moments when giving up seemed like the easier path. What made the difference is that they made a decision to keep going despite the pain and frustration. They understood that success is not about never failing. It's about refusing to be defeated by failure. They learned to treat setbacks not as the end of the road, but as stepping stones towards something greater. During these moments of struggle, it can help to reframe your thinking. Instead of seeing struggle as a punishment or a reason to quit, see it as a teacher. What lessons is it trying to teach you? What new strengths are you developing? How is this difficulty preparing you for the future you want? When you shift your mindset to view struggle as an essential part of growth, you gain a new sense of purpose and direction. You stop wasting energy fighting the struggle itself and start focusing on what you can learn and how you can improve. Another reality of struggle is that it is temporary. No matter how intense or painful your current situation may be, it will not last forever. The seasons of life change, and the darkest nights eventually give way to dawn. This doesn't mean struggle is easy to endure, but it means that giving up is not your only option. You can hold on, keep moving forward, and trust that relief and success are on the other side of persistence. Sometimes the breakthrough you're hoping for is just one more effort away. True strength is not the absence of struggle. It is the courage to face struggle head on and keep moving forward. It is the decision to refuse defeat no matter how many times you fall. Strength is built not in moments of comfort, but in moments when you have every reason to quit and yet choose to stay the course. It is forged in the fire of challenge and tested by the trials you overcome. If you find yourself wanting to give up, remember that this feeling is part of the journey. It is not a signal that you should stop, but a call to dig deeper. Your struggle does not disqualify you from success. It is preparing you for it. The moments when you feel like quitting are often the moments just before a breakthrough. Don't let temporary pain rob you of your potential. Stand firm, hold fast to your vision, and let your struggle shape you into the person you are meant to become. In the end, your true strength is measured not by how easy your journey is, but by how you respond when things get hard. Embrace your struggles as part of your story, and you will discover a power within you that no hardship can break. In the pursuit of any meaningful goal, it's easy to become overwhelmed by the enormity of the task ahead. We often imagine that success comes from making giant leaps, one huge breakthrough that suddenly changes everything. But the truth is, real, lasting success rarely happens that way. Instead, it is built quietly and steadily, through small, consistent actions taken day after day. These small wins, though they may seem insignificant in the moment, hold incredible power. Over time, they accumulate and compound, creating momentum that propels you toward your goals in ways that big leaps alone never could. The idea of small wins is simple but profound. Imagine a bank account where every day you deposit just a tiny amount of money. At first, the balance seems almost unchanged, and you might feel like your efforts aren't making a difference. But as the days pass, those small deposits add up. Interest starts to grow on your total, and before long, what once seemed insignificant turns into something substantial and powerful. The same principle applies to your efforts and habits. Each small win is like a deposit into the bank of your success. One of the biggest mistakes people make is to wait for motivation or inspiration before taking action. They believe they have to feel ready or see immediate results to keep going. But motivation is unpredictable and it will come and go. The key is to focus on consistent, small actions even when you don't feel motivated. When you commit to doing just a little every day, you create a pattern that builds discipline and self-trust. You prove to yourself that you are capable of progress. And that builds confidence, which fuels even more action. Small wins also serve as powerful reminders that you are moving forward. When you break your larger goal into smaller, manageable pieces, each step forward feels achievable and satisfying. This feeling of accomplishment, no matter how small, releases positive emotions and encourages you to keep going. It's a cycle of progress that feeds itself. The more small wins you accumulate, the more momentum you gain, and the easier it becomes to stay consistent. Another important aspect of small wins is that they reduce the pressure and overwhelm that can come from trying to do too much at once. Big goals can seem intimidating and paralyzing when viewed as a whole. But when you focus on taking one small step at a time, the journey becomes less daunting and more manageable. This approach keeps you moving forward, even on days when the bigger picture feels distant or unreachable. Consistency built on small wins also helps guard against burnout. When you try to do too much too quickly, your energy and enthusiasm can burn out fast. But by pacing yourself and celebrating each small victory, you create sustainable progress that keeps your motivation alive over the long term. It's a way of honoring your own limits while still pushing steadily toward your dreams. The compounding effect of small wins is one of the most powerful forces in personal growth. Just like compound interest multiplies wealth, consistent small efforts multiply your skills, habits, and results. Over weeks, months, and years, these efforts transform you in ways that can seem almost magical. What seemed impossible at the start becomes achievable because you've built a foundation of steady progress. It's also important to remember that small wins are not just about the end goal. They are about building the person who can achieve that goal. Every small action shapes your identity and strengthens your character. When you commit to doing what's necessary consistently, you become the kind of person who does not give up easily. You develop patience, perseverance, and a growth mindset. These qualities are essential not just for success, but for thriving in all areas of life. If you ever feel discouraged by the slow pace of your progress, remind yourself that great things take time. No tree grows overnight, and no mountain is climbed in a single step. The journey is made up of many small steps, each one bringing you closer to your destination. Focus on the small wins you can achieve today. No matter how tiny they seem, they matter more than you realize. By embracing the power of small wins, you shift your focus from the daunting scale of your goals to the achievable steps right in front of you. You stop waiting for perfect conditions or sudden inspiration and start taking action consistently. This simple shift in mindset can transform your life and set you on the path to success, one small win at a time. Here's the expanded version of the third keynote. Building mental toughness, developing resilience, and a strong mindset is essential to push through discouragement and maintain consistency. Written as one continuous passage up to about 700 words. Building mental toughness is one of the most critical factors in staying consistent, especially when you feel like giving up. Life's challenges are relentless, and the path to success is rarely smooth or straightforward. At some point, everyone encounters discouragement, setbacks, and moments of doubt. Without mental toughness, it's easy to become overwhelmed, lose confidence, and ultimately quit. But mental toughness is not some mysterious trait that only a few people possess. It's a skill that anyone can develop with intentional effort and practice. Mental toughness is the ability to stay focused, motivated, and determined even when circumstances are difficult or your emotions tell you to stop. It's about resilience, the capacity to bounce back after failure and keep moving forward no matter how many times you fall. When you build mental toughness, you don't just endure hardship, you learn from it, grow stronger, and become better equipped to face future obstacles. It acts like a shield that protects your dreams from the storms of discouragement and negativity. One of the foundational elements of mental toughness is perspective. People with strong mental resilience understand that setbacks and failures are not permanent judgments on their worth or abilities. Instead, they see these challenges as temporary obstacles or opportunities to learn. This mindset allows them to detach their identity from the difficulties they face and avoid getting trapped in a cycle of negative thinking. When you build this kind of perspective, you can view failure as a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block. Another important aspect of mental toughness is emotional control. It's natural to feel frustration, fear, or sadness when things don't go your way, but the key is not to let these feelings dictate your actions. Mentally tough individuals acknowledge their emotions without allowing them to interfere with their progress. They learn to manage stress and anxiety, maintain focus on their goals, and act with intention even when the emotional weight is heavy. Developing emotional control is like training your mind to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Building mental toughness also requires discipline and a commitment to consistent effort. It's easy to be motivated for a short burst of time, but mental toughness keeps you moving forward day after day, especially when motivation fades. This consistency, even in small actions, strengthens your resilience. Over time, you prove to yourself that you can rely on your own willpower and determination, which creates a powerful cycle of self-trust and confidence. Resilience is often built through facing challenges head-on instead of avoiding them. When you shy away from difficulty, you miss opportunities to grow stronger. Each time you face a tough situation, push through discomfort, or overcome a setback, you add another layer of mental toughness. This process can be uncomfortable and even painful, but it builds a foundation that prepares you for even greater challenges ahead. The more you stretch your mental muscles, the more resilient they become. It's also important to surround yourself with positive influences and environments that support your mental strength. Negative people or toxic situations can drain your energy and weaken your resolve. On the other hand, encouragement, mentorship, and uplifting environments fuel your resilience and help you maintain a strong mindset. Mental toughness isn't about going it alone. It's about choosing the right mental and emotional support systems that reinforce your goals. Another key to mental toughness is having a clear vision of your why. When you know deeply why you are pursuing a goal, your purpose acts like an anchor during turbulent times. This clarity provides motivation and direction when discouragement creeps in. The stronger your connection to your purpose, the easier it becomes to overcome setbacks because you have a reason to keep fighting. Building mental toughness also involves self-awareness and reflection. Taking time to examine your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors helps you identify patterns that weaken your resolve. It allows you to develop strategies to overcome limiting beliefs and replace them with empowering ones. Mental toughness grows as you become more conscious of how you respond to challenges and take intentional steps to strengthen your mindset. Finally, remember that mental toughness is not about being unbreakable or never feeling doubt or pain. It's about how you respond to those feelings. Everyone experiences moments of weakness, but mentally tough people choose to keep moving forward despite them. They develop grit, the persistent passion and perseverance toward long-term goals, and this grit carries them through the toughest times. In summary, building mental toughness is essential to maintain consistency when the desire to give up arises. It transforms obstacles into opportunities, strengthens emotional control, fuels discipline, and connects you to your purpose. By cultivating resilience and a strong mindset, you equip yourself with the tools needed to push through discouragement and keep moving toward the life you envision. Mental toughness isn't something you're born with, it's something you grow. The more you invest in developing it, the more unstoppable you become. One of the most underestimated factors in staying consistent and achieving success is the environment you create around yourself. The people you spend time with, the spaces you inhabit, and the influences you allow into your life all play a monumental role in shaping your mindset, motivation, and ultimately, your ability to keep going when things get tough. Consistency doesn't happen in isolation. It is deeply connected to your surroundings, which can either support your goals or sabotage your progress. Understanding this dynamic and taking intentional steps to build a supportive environment is crucial to maintaining focus and consistency. When you think about your environment, it's not just physical space. It also includes the emotional and mental atmosphere you live in. For example, a cluttered or chaotic workspace can drain your energy and make it difficult to concentrate. Similarly, spending time with people who doubt your dreams, bring negativity, or distract you from your priorities can undermine your commitment to consistency. On the other hand, an environment filled with encouragement, inspiration, and positive energy acts like a fuel that keeps your motivation burning even on the hardest days. Creating a supportive environment begins with evaluating your current situation honestly. Ask yourself, are the people around me lifting me up or holding me back? Do my daily habits and routines support the habits I want to build? Is my physical space organized in a way that helps me focus and be productive? These questions can be uncomfortable, but are necessary to identify the areas where change is needed sometimes. The hardest part is admitting that certain relationships or habits are not serving your growth. But this admission is the first step toward transformation. Surrounding yourself with positive influences means choosing to spend time with people who believe in you, challenge you to grow, and celebrate your wins. These might be mentors, friends, family members, or even members of a community or group aligned with your values and goals. Positive relationships provide accountability, encouragement, and perspective when your own resolve falters. When you are around people who consistently remind you of your potential and cheer you on, it becomes much easier to keep showing up every day, even when you want to give up. Removing distractions is equally important. In today's world, distractions are everywhere, from social media notifications to toxic conversations and endless entertainment options. These distractions can hijack your attention and derail your efforts toward consistency. Creating boundaries around your time and focus is essential. This might mean setting specific hours for work and rest, turning off notifications during your most productive times, or physically removing objects that pull your attention away from your goals. Discipline in managing distractions is not about deprivation, but about protecting the precious resource of your attention so you can invest it where it matters most. A supportive environment also includes cultivating positive habits and routines that reinforce your commitment. This might be a morning ritual that centers your mind, a regular workout that strengthens your body, or quiet moments of reflection and planning that keep your goals clear. Habits become the framework within which consistency flourishes. When your daily actions align with your purpose and are supported by your environment, the path forward becomes smoother and more natural. It's important to remember that building this environment is an ongoing process, not a one-time event. Life changes, priorities shift, and new challenges arise. Being intentional about your environment means regularly reassessing and adjusting to keep your focus sharp. It means being willing to make difficult decisions, whether that's distancing yourself from negative influences, saying no to social invitations that drain your energy, or redesigning your workspace to better suit your needs. These choices are investments in your future self. The power of environment is also evident in how it affects your mindset. When you are surrounded by positivity and encouragement, you are more likely to adopt an optimistic and resilient attitude. This mindset, in turn, makes it easier to overcome setbacks and keep pushing forward. Conversely, a toxic or unsupportive environment breeds doubt, fear, and procrastination. You begin to internalize the negativity and start believing that you can't succeed. Protecting yourself from these harmful influences is not selfish, it's necessary self-care. Finally, creating a supportive environment is about more than just avoiding negativity. It's about actively seeking inspiration and motivation. This can come from books, podcasts, online communities, or any source that uplifts your spirit and expands your perspective. Filling your mind with positive input helps to counterbalance the inevitable challenges and frustrations you'll encounter on your journey. It reminds you why you started and keeps your vision alive. In summary, the environment you create around yourself is a foundational pillar of consistency. By surrounding yourself with positive influences, removing distractions, and cultivating supportive habits, you build a context in which your goals can thrive. This environment acts as a safety net and a springboard, catching you when you stumble and propelling you forward when you're ready to rise. The power to shape your surroundings is in your hands, and it's one of the most effective ways to ensure you stay consistent even when you feel like giving up. Setting clear goals is one of the most powerful tools you can use to stay consistent, especially when you feel like giving up. Goals act like a compass. They give you direction and purpose. Without them, it's easy to feel lost, overwhelmed, or uncertain about why you're putting in the effort in the first place. But clear goals do more than just provide a sense of purpose. They also ignite motivation and create a measurable path forward. When you know exactly what you want to achieve, you can break down that vision into manageable steps, making the journey feel less daunting and more achievable. The process of setting clear goals forces you to clarify what success means to you. Instead of vague wishes or random actions, you begin to define specific outcomes. For example, instead of saying, "I want to get fit," a clear goal might be, "I want to run a 5K in 3 months," or "I want to lose 10 pounds in 12 weeks. This clarity helps you focus your energy and resources on what truly matters. It becomes easier to make decisions because every action can be measured against whether it brings you closer to that goal. Breaking your goals into smaller, manageable steps is where the power of consistency truly comes into play. Big goals can feel intimidating and overwhelming, which often leads to procrastination or giving up altogether. However, when you divide your goal into smaller milestones or tasks, each step feels doable. These smaller achievements create momentum, reinforcing your motivation and confidence. For example, if your goal is to write a book, breaking it down into writing 1 chapter a week or even 1 page a day can transform a huge, vague task into a series of simple, actionable steps. These manageable steps act as checkpoints, allowing you to track your progress. Seeing yourself accomplish each small task creates a sense of achievement that fuels your desire to keep going. It's much harder to give up when you can look back and see tangible evidence of how far you've come. This sense of progress also helps combat feelings of discouragement or burnout because it reminds you that your efforts are producing results, even if the ultimate goal still feels distant. In addition to breaking goals into smaller parts, setting timelines or deadlines for each step can significantly increase your consistency. Deadlines create a healthy pressure that pushes you to take action. Without deadlines, it's easy to fall into the trap of indefinite postponement. "I'll do it tomorrow" becomes a habit that erodes your momentum. By assigning realistic timeframes to each step, you hold yourself accountable and maintain a steady pace toward your goal. Another crucial benefit of clear goals and step-by-step planning is that they reduce decision fatigue. When your actions are mapped out, you don't waste mental energy figuring out what to do next or second-guessing your choices. This clarity helps prevent overwhelm and keeps your focus sharp. Instead of reacting to distractions or challenges impulsively, you can calmly follow your roadmap, confident that you are moving in the right direction. Setting clear goals also gives you a framework to evaluate and adjust your approach when necessary. Sometimes, despite our best efforts, certain strategies don't work, or circumstances change. Having defined goals allows you to identify where you might need to pivot or improve your tactics without losing sight of the bigger picture. It's not about rigidly sticking to a plan that isn't working, but about maintaining focus on the goal while being flexible with the methods. Motivation is a dynamic force that ebbs and flows over time. There will be days when you feel energized and ready to tackle anything, and other days when giving up seems tempting. Having clear goals broken into manageable steps acts as a stabilizing force during those low points. It reminds you that success is not about a single heroic effort, but about consistent small actions repeated over time. Every step forward, no matter how small, is progress. This mindset shifts your focus from seeking instant gratification to valuing the process, which is essential for long-term consistency. When setting your goals, it's also important to make sure they are meaningful to you personally. Goals rooted in your values and passions naturally generate stronger motivation. If your goals feel imposed or disconnected from your true desires, consistency will be harder to sustain. Take time to reflect on why your goal matters and how it aligns with your vision for your life. This connection creates an emotional drive that helps you push through challenges and stay committed. In summary, clear goals and breaking them into manageable steps form a powerful system to maintain motivation and consistency. They transform overwhelming dreams into achievable tasks, provide measurable progress that fuels confidence, and reduce mental fatigue by giving you a clear plan to follow. This approach turns the journey to success into a series of intentional, achievable actions rather than a vague hope or a stressful burden. By setting clear goals and mapping out the steps, you create your own roadmap to success, one that keeps you moving forward, even when you feel like giving up. When pursuing any meaningful goal, it's easy to overlook the importance of recognizing and celebrating small wins, yet this simple practice can be one of the most powerful ways to stay consistent and motivated, especially when the path feels long and the finish line distant. Small wins act as stepping stones, markers that prove your progress and remind you that you are moving forward. Without acknowledging these victories, it's common to feel stuck, frustrated, or discouraged, leading many to give up just before a breakthrough. Understanding the value of small wins and intentionally celebrating them can transform your entire journey and build a lasting habit of consistency. The human brain is wired to respond to rewards and positive reinforcement. When you achieve something, even a tiny accomplishment, your brain releases dopamine, a neurotransmitter that makes you feel good. This feeling of satisfaction motivates you to repeat the behavior that led to the success. In other words, celebrating small wins creates a feedback loop that strengthens your commitment and makes it easier to keep going. Each win becomes a reminder that your efforts are worthwhile and that success is within reach. Small wins are often underestimated because they may seem insignificant in the grand scheme of your goal. However, they accumulate over time and create momentum. Imagine climbing a staircase one step at a time. Each step might seem minor, but together they carry you upward to the top. Similarly, each small win is a building block toward your ultimate objective. When you take time to acknowledge these achievements, you reinforce positive habits and cultivate a mindset that values progress over perfection. Recognizing small wins also helps to shift your focus from what you haven't done yet to what you have accomplished. When you concentrate only on the distance left to cover, it's easy to feel overwhelmed or inadequate. But when you look back and see the progress you've made, no matter how modest, it boosts your confidence and resilience. This perspective helps to counter discouragement and the temptation to quit, especially during challenging moments. Celebrating small wins doesn't have to be elaborate or time-consuming. It can be as simple as pausing to acknowledge your effort, sharing your progress with a supportive friend, or treating yourself to a small reward. These moments of celebration create a positive emotional association with your work and reinforce the value of consistency. Over time, this practice conditions your mind to view persistence as rewarding, making it easier to stay committed. Moreover, Small wins offer valuable feedback. They provide clues about what strategies are working and which ones might need adjustment. When you take note of your successes, you gain insight into your strengths and effective habits. This awareness enables you to build on what's working and adapt your approach as necessary. It makes the process dynamic and responsive rather than rigid and discouraging. The habit of recognizing small wins also builds patience. Consistency requires endurance, and it's rare for success to come overnight. By celebrating incremental progress, you train yourself to appreciate the journey rather than just the destination. This shift in mindset is crucial because it prevents burnout and keeps your motivation alive over the long haul. When you enjoy the process and acknowledge your growth, you are less likely to give up when faced with setbacks or slow progress. It's important to create intentional rituals that help you recognize and celebrate your wins regularly. This might mean keeping a journal where you record daily or weekly achievements, no matter how small. It could involve sharing your milestones in a community or accountability group where encouragement and recognition fuel collective motivation. Establishing these practices builds a culture of positivity around your goals and supports your consistency. Another benefit of celebrating small wins is that it cultivates gratitude. Gratitude for your efforts, for the opportunities you have, and for the progress you make shifts your mindset from scarcity to abundance. This positive outlook enhances mental well-being and reduces stress, which are essential for maintaining the energy and focus needed to stay consistent. In summary, recognizing and celebrating small wins is a powerful strategy to fuel motivation and reinforce the habit of consistency. These small victories create positive reinforcement, build momentum, provide feedback, and foster patience. By intentionally acknowledging your progress, you cultivate a mindset that values growth and persistence, making it easier to stay committed even when the journey feels difficult. The practice of celebrating small wins transforms the pursuit of your goals from a distant, overwhelming challenge into a series of rewarding, manageable steps, each one bringing you closer to success.